Hi, this is Mark Lewis with Dart Controls. This video is going to cover some of the advanced features of the ASP product. So there are two models in the ASP family, the ASP10 and the ASP40. Which one should I use for my application? The ASP10 software is really set up for a continuous operation where there are very few speed changes. The motor load is not expected to change. Pretty much start it up and run it all shift or all day. Really, either the ASP10 or the 40 will work for that. If you have a continuous operation but you need to interface the ASP to a PLC or some other type of computer, in other words, you want to be able to adjust the set point on the ASP automatically, you need to use an ASP40 with the appropriate option. And then finally, the third criteria is if you have a discontinuous operation, or you're turning it on and off, you're making frequent speed changes, or if the motor load is going to change on a regular basis, use the ASP40. So all the programming on AccuSet products or ASP is done through the front panel unless you're using a serial interface. This happens to be an ASP40. With an ASP10, you won't see any of this labeling up above, and there are no lights that will light up. All you see is enter an up and down arrow. To enter the programming mode, you press and hold the enter button, and on the ASP10, your display will change to the letter P, 0. That tells you you are at parameter 0. Then you use the up and down arrows to navigate the parameter list. Once you reach the parameter that you want to change, you press the enter button, and you will see the value displayed in the window, and you'll see a colon or two LED lights blinking up and down indicating that you're changing a value. Use the up and down arrows to change that value. Press enter to return to the parameter list. Use the up and down arrows to navigate to the next parameter, or if you're done, go to parameter P0 or parameter 0, press enter, and you'll be back in the operational mode. For this device right here, the ASP40, it's very similar in terms of navigating, but the indication's a little bit different. There's actually two functions to each one of these lights. There's an LED light that will light up underneath those labels. If the light is steady, you'll see this solid line here indicates whichever light is on. The light means whatever the label is up above. So it could be auto, item, value, or TAC. If it says TAC, if the TAC light is on steady, that means you're reading actual speed of the motor. If the light underneath these labels is blinking, then it's the bottom row of labels that has the meaning, which could be manual, alarm 1, alarm 2, or some kind of error. But in terms of programming, what you do is the same as the ASP10. You press and hold the enter button, and what will happen is this item light will turn on solid, and you'll see only a 0 in the window. That means you're at item 0. You use the up and down arrows to navigate the item list. When you get to an item you want to change, you press the enter button. The item light will go out and the value light will come on steady. That means you're adjusting a value. You use the up and down arrows to make that adjustment. Once you get it to the value you want, you press the enter button. You'll return to the item list. The value light will go out. The item light will turn back on. You navigate using the item list using the up and down arrows, or if you're finished, go to item 0, press enter, and you'll be back in the operational mode. So there's configurable inputs and outputs on the ASPs that will give it more capability, and again in the ASP40 we have additional options which give it even more features. So on both models we have inputs that can be configured for inhibit, and jog at a preset speed or an e-stop. On the ASP40, there's a front panel double click feature which can take the place, for example, of a dry contact input to enable the inhibit, jog, or e-stop type function. Again, on the ASP40 only, the OPT420 is a 4 to 20 milliamp in, 4 to 20 milliamp out, where the input is an automatic set speed and the output is the actual speed of the motor. The OPT51 is a serial interface. Right now this is compatible with RS-232 485. We're looking at some other serial protocols to support, but for now it's RS-232 485. And this can be used for complete access to all the parameters inside of the ASP40. So this will allow for monitoring, control, and even program management and changes from a remote location. Now both of these OPT420 and OPT51, they include an input to the option card to allow for an auto manual switch to be mounted locally at the ASP. This is very handy, if not necessary, for maintenance and safety purposes. If someone's working on the equipment, they likely will want to remove automatic remote control and have it be controlled locally only. The OPT51 also offers the support for analog voltage like 0 to 5 volt DC, 4 to 20 milliamp, or even a potentiometer set speed input. So another advanced feature of the ASP is the alarming capability. We can alarm both control the actual ASP health and other conditions, as well as process alarms. So an example of some of the alarms that we're able to monitor are actual speed outside of limits, set speed equal to 0, a loss of encoder feedback, the jog, inhibit, or e-stop mode is activated. There actually is a maintenance timer in the ASP40 where we can accumulate hours of operation. You can alarm when it's time for preventative maintenance. And along with these alarms, we can also configure their output action, whether they're steady or pulsing. And then also we can configure the reset style, whether it's automatic or a push button on the front of the display or some other choices. You also have the option to make the display value flash when there's an alarm. And one other note, when you're using the OPT420, which is the 4 to 20 milliamp option for the ASP40, you pick up a second relay on that option card so you can have 2 relay outputs. All alarms are routed to a Form C relay, and you can actually logically AND or multiple alarms to use the same relay output. So the ASP family is a very handy, very valuable accessory to any drive. We have many applications where we've replaced PLC and HMI based systems costing thousands of dollars with an ASP device and have been very successful.